You found yourself on another episode of Locked On Bulls. The New York Knicks gets Mo Cheeks as Mo Cheeks leaves the Chicago Bulls to go to join Tom Thibodeau's staff. Terrence Shannon Jr. is also found not guilty, and we'll talk about what does this do for his draft stock and how it could change the top of the NBA draft overall. And then lastly, we're going to get to me and Pat's finals predictions. We're going to get to all that and more right after this.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to another episode of Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat the Designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. And Pat, today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Mo Cheeks, bro. We talked about the mass exodus of a lot of Chicago Bulls assistant coaches. The Bulls still have one spot open left on Billy Donovan's staff. And initially it was said that Mo Cheeks was stepping down from being behind the bench with Billy Donovan, but he was probably going to take up another role in the organization that could have made him not have to travel as much. Well, he's traveling quite a bit, going from Chicago to New York to join Tom Thibodeau's staff. How you feeling, Pat?
I mean, listen, I can't tell you whether Mo Cheeks is good or bad as a head coach. From what I've heard about Mo Cheeks, or I'm sorry, as a head coach, as an assistant coach. From what I've heard about Mo Cheeks, there's a lot of players that aren't fans of him as a coach. These are previous players that have been a part of working with him. Some when he was a head coach in Philly, right? Like these are different scenarios completely. But what did Mo Cheeks help? Like that's the thing for me. Like. With Tom Thibodeau and Mo Cheeks going to his staff, I think about how Tom Thibodeau helped the Boston Celtics and how his name was brought up constantly on that NBA Finals run. Yes, there was a lot of praise for Doc Rivers, but it was constantly, on defense, we doing what Thibs say. This is how Thibs draw it up. We following what Thibs do. Yeah, like we never had that here with Mo Cheeks. In fact, we never had that to the point where it was like he wasn't even the guy who was getting the opportunity, even though he had previous head coaching experience, to go out and be the coach when Billy Donovan was out. So I really wonder what impact, if any, Mo Cheeks had on this staff. I think he's a phenomenal basketball player. I believe he's a Hall of Famer, right? He's in the NBA Hall of Fame, right? Or Basketball Hall of Fame, right?
Is he?
Am I tweaking on that? Am I mistaken on that? I think he's in there. But I mean, realistically speaking, I don't feel like it's a massive loss for the Chicago Bulls that Mo Cheeks isn't here. And in fact, I think, maybe we could do with less Cheeks around Chicago.
Chicago's always going to have plenty of Cheeks. He is not a Hall of Famer, by the way.
Should I put the other picture back up?
No, not on Locked On.
Sorry.
Here's the thing is that I think the only praise that I've really heard towards Mo Cheeks as an assistant while he was here was Kobe White initially early in his career did give a lot of credit to Mo Cheeks when this staff first came into Chicago. He talked about Mo Cheeks working with him kind of a lot one-on-one. But other than that, like, you never really know what type of impact an assistant coach has because, yeah, you have the extreme examples of like you use with Tom Thibodeau, where he was basically the defensive coordinator, for lack of better terms, for those Boston Celtics teams. And then you have, like here, we don't exactly know what the coaches do outside of every assistant coach here in Chicago has their own players that they do video review with. Like, so they separate it that way, where they sit down with each one of those players and do the video of opposing teams and some of their own game. But other than that, we just don't know. And I don't want to act like Mo Cheeks didn't have, like, he didn't do anything. We just may not know. But him joining it going from he wants to stay within the organization, he just doesn't want to travel, to, oh no, by the way, I'm going to join Tom Thibodeau's staff, to me may speak towards maybe there is something to be said that the coaches were just tired of Billy Donovan as well. Chris Fleming who has always been heralded as one of the best assistant coaches in basketball that a lot of GMs thought could make a really good coach. The fact that he left, did he join Charlotte?
I believe he went to Charlotte. I think that's right, with the new coaching staff.
So it's like, I don't know, maybe people are just starting to see what we've seen or said, that maybe they just don't want to attach themselves to a sinking ship in Billy Donovan, and that could be the case.
I just remembered the topic. God dang it. Well, we're doing it later. Because I'm sorry.
That is hilarious.
It kind of goes into this. We can tie it in because I don't know if I don't have 5 more minutes on Mo Cheeks. I'm not gonna lie. By the way, he is a Hall of Famer. I knew I wasn't tweaking. I watched him go in. He went in 2018.
Why does he not have it on his Wikipedia page?
Did you type in Mo Cheeks?
Yeah, I'm looking at his Wikipedia page right now.
About Cheeks.
Huh?
On his Wikipedia page, Cheeks was inducted in
I'm looking in the accolade. Usually it's over in the accolade.
No, they got it up here at the top. Cheeks was inducted into the Hall of Fame as a player.
Basketball Hall of Fame as a player. It's at the very end of the thing. Yeah, shout out to Mo Cheeks for being Hall of Fame.
I double checked on Basketball Reference too. I thought I saw him go in, but Cheeks was inducted. It's crazy.
Cheeks were inducted into the Hall of Fame. Go ahead. I'm sorry, bro. I can keep that joke going.
The one thing, CBS just put an article out about the 30 best places for people to coach.
Oh, I did. That was yes. And the Bulls ranked dead last.
The Chicago Bulls ranked dead last in that. And I think that this kind of goes into maybe what we're seeing with the coaching staff, where you're seeing a lot of coaches want to leave and not want to be a part of this organization. To me, it spells out one of two things. One, with the current staff that's in place, are we seeing maybe what we saw with Matt Eberflus take place here, where AK is taking more of a hold on what's happening with the coaching staff? Or are we seeing coaches just up and say, I don't want to be a part of this? And when I say Eberflus, right, there's no connection with Matt Eberflus and Shane Waldron. There's no connection with Matt Eberflus and almost all of the coach. I think the only coach that has any history with Matt is the quarterback's coach, who basically just worked with Frank Wright after Matt worked with Frank Wright. Like, that was the only connection. So it tells you that there was the front office basically was like, bring these guys in here. We like this guy. We like what this guy can do for him. We like what this guy can do for him. I wonder if maybe we're getting that from Acme at this point, where he's like, listen, you picked your staff. It sucks. And we want to see more. And so now we're going to handpick our guys.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that a lot, is that the coaches that they brought in seem like AK picks rather than Billy Donovan picks. Yeah. So, it does feel a lot like that. They went out and got, somebody who came from Denver, who was a coach in Denver in a little while, and then somebody who came from Miami Heat's coaching tree, which it's never bad to pluck from that and what that organization has brought. So, that could be in line with that as well. Like, listen, and I don't fault any, but regardless, like the Bulls, regardless of how you want to look at it, have gotten worse for the last 3 years. Declining record every season for the last 3 years. So, like, as if you got to look at your job security, like, hey, the New York Knicks look really good right now. They've been on the opposite trajectory where they've gotten better every single year. So can't be mad at Mo Cheeks for doing that. And he goes over and joins a coach in Tom Thibodeau, where, hey, maybe the cool approach of Mo Cheeks is actually going to be welcomed by some of the players there, because Tom is another one of those guys with ashy vocal cords. So like C-Dub. So
I see Dub catching that straight. Jesus.
Because if you talk about ashy vocal cords, C-Dub has ashy vocal cords.
I would have went Doc Rivers first. I wouldn't have went straight to C-Dub.
I'm going to go straight. We're going to deal with the homies first.
We're going straight to the source.
We're going straight to the source. Yeah.
I wonder how, like you said, if he's going to be received positively or if it is going to be more of the same. I think it's the perfect staff for him.
Yeah.
I think that it is you can kind of play good cop, bad cop, because there is always Thibs. We know how Thibs is. Jimmy talks about it. He's like, listen, if we weren't winning so much, I hated you. Right? Like, I'd rather not be worked as hard as you've worked us, but at the end of the day, it made us better players. And you do need that dude that you can go back to and be like, I'm a kill coach. And he's like, all right, let's breathe now. Come on now, man. Take it back. I know you have to listen to them vocal cords all day. That's tough. Yeah, but at least he's not C-Dub. All right, let's do the average.
That is crazy. All right.
You threw the shot first.
Next up, we're going to be talking about Terrence Shannon Jr. and how him and his case now going away could affect the NBA draft. But before we get into that, got to talk to you guys about Gametime. Gametime makes getting NBA Finals tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Gametime app actually go down closer that it gets to tip off. With killer last minute deals, all in prices, views from your seat, and the lowest price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. Last minute deals save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game and or event. Save even more when you choose a section and let Gametime choose the seats for you. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA Finals tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. You know, surprisingly enough, as many crazy comments as we got, nobody commented on the BBL jersey beat being used in the show. Nobody commented on it.
I don't think people. I mean, listen, must be vibing the BBL jersey. Nobody's upset by it. Like nobody's like, oh, this is a crazy beat.
Hey, listen, there's a dope vibe beat. Nonetheless,
it's a good vibe. I do love the fact that Drake was like, "Hey, bro, did you just chef up a beat about my cheeks, bro?" Like, speaking of Mo cheeks. You just chef up a Mo Cheeks beat, bro?
BBL jersey this
year. You missed an
opportunity.
You missed an opportunity. Come on, dog.
Damn.
We're never going to have this chance again.
Me and you have talked a lot about how the pending case around Terrence Shannon Jr. had impacted his draft stock. I think the lowest that I had seen Terrence Shannon Jr. going leading up to kind of this before the draft combine was maybe 20th. And then he fell all the way into like the middle of the second round because of the doubt and the concern around this case. He was found not guilty today. Me and you once talked about the fact of could this be settled well before the draft? It was. I think this about a week and a half. It took them to hear everything and to make their decision. So the question now is, how does this impact the draft board going forward? Does Terrence Shannon Jr. shoot back up draft boards? He has more than enough time to have private workouts with teams, things like that. Pat, I'm gonna throw this question to you. Do you think Terrence Shannon Jr. now becomes a lottery pick potentially in this draft? Do you think maybe kind of still outside the lottery a little bit is where he's gonna end up falling?
I think with the conversation around Nikola Topic, Terrence Shannon Jr. may not make it past the Spurs. And remember, the Spurs have 2 picks in the top 10 this year. They have their own pick, and they also have a pick. I believe it is number 8 by you good? Got the devil back there?
I don't know what I just saw, but I'm probably gonna have to kill a bug here soon in a second.
As long as it's a bug, bro, that look was like somebody closed the door and ain't nobody else in the house.
Oh, no.
I got nervous.
I hate spiders. So anytime I sense a spider, I take that with extreme prejudice, bro. Like I was
about to open some Bibles in this mug.
I hate spiders.
Psalm 83:18. Yeah,
right. Yeah, I hate spiders, man. Woo! But I'm sorry. Continue, bro.
All right, I was gonna log off. That's how black this podcast is. We're not even in the same city. And if you even think it's a ghost there, I'm logging off. I think I'd have a tough time seeing Terrence Shannon Jr. make it outside the top 8, though. They do it, like I said, they have that 4th pick, and I believe it's the number 8 pick for the San Antonio Spurs as well via Toronto. Why wouldn't you want to pair up a player who can get his own bucket and can be a force while still maybe not as much of a facilitating ability as you would love? But when you got Wemby, it's not hard to facilitate. Throw that mug up there and hope that he gets it. I think that'd be a deadly pick and roll and one that you'd have to count or have to worry about on both sides. If there's any hope for the Bulls getting Terrence Shannon Jr., I think now more than ever, you may have to try one of those trade up options and still hold on to him.
See, and I think you're overrating how high Terrence Shannon Jr. is going. Because I think even at his height, he wasn't projected to go anywhere close to the top 10. Now, one could say against that argument,
this case has been,
yeah, it has been, but
last season,
especially like the Spurs, I'm not worried about them drafting Terrence Shannon Jr. because I do think that they are trying to draft a more traditional. I don't really think they're worrying about players that can isolate with Wemby. I just don't foresee that. I get what you're getting at with that because I don't doubt the basketball aspect that you're talking about. I just don't know if that's how the Spurs are trying to play basketball. I would say the team that I'm worried about, if we're talking about any team kind of ahead of the Bulls drafting them, I'm kind of more so personally worried about either the Utah Jazz or the Portland Trailblazers taking a shot at it.
See, I'm not worried about Portland because I feel like Portland's to the point where they're like, we got so many guards here, we got to figure something out.
Well, that's the thing. How do you like if you're viewing Terrence Shannon Jr. as a guard, I kind of project him more as a wing at the NBA level. I think he's going to be small forward more than guard.
I don't know if he shoots well enough to be a small forward, though. I think that's
DeMar DeRozan's a small forward in this league.
That's true. That's a heck of a point. That's a heck of a point. But you also, every team's not the Bulls.
This is true. True.
When you're sitting there playing people out of position, everybody's not playing the players out of position like the Bulls are.
The thing is, it's not like he's a bad shooter. He's just not a knockout shooter.
He's streaky, and that's the thing about him. That's the only thing about him that does give me concern. He upped his percentages last season, which is phenomenal, but he is if I get that mug going game by game, right, I might have a 6 for 7 day from the 3-point line. We saw that in the tournament where he's absolutely lights out. We also saw him have a 3 for 14 game. You know what I mean? Like there are those up and down moments with Terrence Shannon Jr. Now he gonna let that mug fly.
Yeah, but the thing is, you harping a lot on that, and I get why as far as the streakiness. But all these mugs are streaky. Scotty Barnes is a starting small forward and or power forward sometimes, depending on what they want to do. Tobias Harris has started as small forward for the majority of his career. Michael Porter Jr. is still a streaky shooter, even though we know he can be locked out. So like, it's not like streakiness has stopped people from being starters in this NBA level. Like it doesn't stop.
That's true. It doesn't stop it, but I think I would think if you're looking to make his because you would think if you're bringing him to Utah. Right, you've got a point guard there. Now, I would assume you're not trading guys away because you've got a nice player in there. You've got a point guard in Colin Sexton and or Jordan Clarkson, although I wouldn't put that in the starting lineup. You've got Larry Markkinen at your 4 right now, so you're trying to slot him in at the 3 or the 2. That's more of a shooting position that you need because Colin Sexton ain't shooting that mug like that. He's gotten much better. I think he's 39%. He shot 39% last year. But I would love to see, I would think they would want somebody who's more of a Dalton Connect type of player out there if you do hold on to the players that are on that team where it's like, what's this dude do? He let that mug fly.
You know what you're getting at. I mean, I guess we'll see. Like I said,
is there any way he just falls to the Bulls at 11? And
I think he'll be there. I think there's a high probability he'll be there at the Bulls at 11. The question is will the Bulls take him? And the only way that I can see the Bulls taking a Terrence Shannon Jr. is if they do acquire a pick either earlier or later in this draft. Personally,
that I very much agree with, and I wonder if they would try to go higher. If they're still trying to identify a Donovan Clingan or something like that, if they try to go higher up in the draft, still that I don't think this changes anything for Houston or Charlotte. I think they're kind of where they are right now, right? Like I don't think this changes anything for them attacking in the draft.
If anything, it may get more people calling.
That's true.
If anything, that's probably.
But see where Houston's at. Houston's 3, right? like
yeah, that's true.
I guess you don't know nothing, but like. Even I love Terrence Shannon Jr. I wouldn't take him 3.
No, I mean, and that's the overarching thing is that where a lot of these players have, like, for example, I know he's much younger, but I could see if you have Cody Williams on your board and you end up like Cody's gone and like Ron Holland's gone, I could see Terrence Shannon Jr. be the next up on that.
Oh,
after Connect. Like maybe so.
I think that would be my thing though. You do have to address big man in this draft. If you can get a pick without giving up 11, which I think
here's the thing, brother. We say that they have to draft or address the big
2
man.
guards, baby. Here we go.
This is our tourist connoisseur that we're talking about, bro. Like,
hey, and I didn't mean 2 guard, like not a shooting guard. 2 guards. He's gonna go get a point guard.
I mean, even that I can see us only having 1 pick and still drafting the point guard, and we're just looking like. Again, AK. Again,
what's TSJ's wingspan? That'll tell us everything we need to know.
I think it's a 6'8" wingspan, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh, that's not good. It's not good for AK. Because TSJ is what, 6'5", 6'6"?
6'6", I think you measured that. Hold on, I can find it for you.
6'8" wingspan. That's not gonna cut it for AK. You know, he want the fingertips to touch. I said fingertips.
Okay. He measured at basically 6'6" and almost a 6'7" wingspan. So
we having a bogus conversation. We not drafting him. There's no shot we get him. There's no shot. That's gonna suck. Dang it. If he had measured 6'6" and had a 7'1" wingspan, I'd be like, draft him now. He's scratching his knee without bending over. That's exactly how AK judges
on your
these
knees.
guys.
Hands on your knees.
Relax there. My God, what's going on there? I'm gonna do an ad read here real quick because that's
wild.
How
we got here.
Are you rapping Sexy Red right now, my G?
Bro, listen. Yeah, but I'm gonna segue out of that.
Are you rapping Sexy Red? Now listen.
I'm gonna segue out of that though. But you know, one of the female rappers that I've gained a new respect for, because my daughter listens to a lot of her music, and I'm like, hey, she's actually spitting. Glorilla actually spits.
Glorilla got some bars, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Hey, that little the Yeah Glow song, I ain't gonna lie. That mug came out, I was like, all right, okay, I'm vibing with this a little bit.
Exactly. I'm like, hey, all right, Glow, go ahead, Pat. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, Glow. Shout out to that. Glorilla getting a mention on the podcast. Well, did not have that on my bingo card. Haize listening to Glorilla. Haize seemed like the type of dude to be like, Rhapsody's not getting enough love in these streets.
Oh, that's absolutely.
She's not.
Rhapsody and Il Camille absolutely would be ones that I'm saying.
I'm a big Star Rock fan. I'm not gonna lie to you. She's phenomenal. She's got some great stuff out here. All right, let me do an ad read. PrizePicks is also a sponsor on today's episode. And y'all already know how much Locked On Network rides for PrizePicks. Why? Because you can take $10 and turn it to $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. PrizePicks line, you can pick your PrizePicks lineups in as little as 60 seconds. You just need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you're locked in. Here is I guess gambling tip. I don't think this is gambling technically though. Here's a tip for you though. Anything or anybody that plays the White Sox, go more. There's your tip. I don't care how you're playing it, more. How much can the White Sox mess up? More. I think what's very interesting about PrizePicks, though, is that you get the opportunity to play so many different styles of games. They're America's #1 fantasy sports app as well, with over 5 million active members. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the PrizePicks community today. Even though the finals are almost over, you can still get in on what probably will be the final game of the season right now. All you got to do is go to PrizePicks or go to the App Store, download the PrizePicks app today, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy. By the way,
what happened towards the end of the ad read there?
I had a stroke. You saw that. You saw,
yeah,
I'm in this new office and the altitude's just too high, bro. You know what I mean? I'm making that bread out here now.
Making that bread out there?
making that shmoney, my boy. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing good things.
Anyway.
Oh no, my green screen failed. Oh,
before we get out of here, to see, look, there's the bad things happening to good people.
Get back on there. They always hating on me.
Just messed up the whole illusion, bro. What happened? Anyway, Pat, NBA Finals, man. The Boston Celtics are up 3-0. They do play on Friday. Can the Boston Celtics go ahead and sweep this thing, man?
Yes. Listen, I talked about this last night on Locked On NBA. Luka Doncic has had a horrible finals defensively. And I know it feels like at this point, like everybody's picking on him, but I mean, it is woefully bad. And not only him, the focus has been on him, but you also got to look at Kyrie Irving as well. He did not score well in Boston during that series. Excuse me. And He did not defend well either. Like, defense was a hallmark of this Dallas team going through the playoffs. They had really upticked their production in the playoffs. Kyrie Irving, through the first 2 games of the playoffs, scored 28 points. He allowed 27. That was a very Carlos Boozer first 2 games for Kyrie Irving. And then Luka Doncic, he got beat 13 times going to the rim in game 2 alone, not to mention how many times in game 3 he got cooked. My problem with that is it automatically puts your defense out of position, and it literally just looks like Luka's not trying to step in front of him. I know a lot of people are going to say, but he's hurt. He's not himself. He's going through so much, and he's not there. He was hurt the series before. That list of injuries was dropped in the series before. They gave him an entire week to get as healthy as he can. I'm not saying that he's 100% healthy, but guess what? Yes, he's beat up. He was beat up before. He's still beat up now, and he had a week off to try and recover on some of those injuries. I do think he's still dealing with something, but I didn't give him an excuse when he was out there cooking Anthony Edwards and talking trash in the face of Rudy Gobert. I'm not giving him an excuse now. So, no, I think this finals is over. Back against the wall. It is what it is. Shout out to Boston for what is that? 7. What banner is that? Is that banner 18?
Article that said New York grabs Mo Cheeks from Chicago. I was like, hey, bro, y'all do
bro. Play the music. Play the music, dog.
But yeah, man. I'm sorry. I couldn't hold it. Once I saw it, I was like, that's actually pretty damn funny.
It's nuts.
But this Boston Celtics, listen, I just wanted to be over with. I don't want Dallas to win a game and push game 5 in Boston. I just wanted to be over with because, listen, not Luka's given everything, and Kyrie had a slow first, I think, game or 2. But overall, like, you're just seeing the Boston Celtics are doing exactly what they did over the course of the season. They are killing teams with their defense and surprisingly their depth, even without Kristaps Porzingis. And so, listen, I wanted to see the series go like 6 games initially, just because to me the finals are always better when it goes at least 6 games. But you got to give it up to the Boston Celtics. They've come in. Joe Mazzulla has had them prepared. They've thrown different defensive looks every single game out there, and the Dallas Mavericks just have not. Their role players just have not had the same impact that they had against like a Minnesota Timberwolves team. It just is what it is.
I think that goes to Kristaps Porzingis playing in the 2 games he did, and I'll say this: if Boston wins, congratulations to Kristaps. Oh, like I understand, right, the injury, and he's been injury prone, but they don't win this series without him.
No, that energy he provided, especially in that first game, like it just he came into that first game and literally just was like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm not letting us lose today, because Jason Tatum played like Mo Cheeks that game, so like. And Kristaps was the energy and difference maker. So yeah, I mean, even if he does end up sitting down in game 4 as well, he's put his imprint and impact on this series, and it's been an important one.
I would tell him to sit. I would say, listen, the 2 games that he gave, one, the fact that he was defensively as good as he was, which I don't know if I've ever seen Kristaps be that good defensively. That he was as good defensively as he was through game 1 and 2. He was an absolute rim protector. He was shutting everything down. All of those lobs were gone that we saw to Gafford, Lively, and Kristaps Porzingis in game 1 and 2 is what people thought Rudy Gobert was supposed to be. That's exactly the impact that he had. He did not allow Gaff. He did not allow DJJ. He did not allow PJ Washington to get themselves going in the paint. And it really changed the tide of this series. Now you're to a point where you just need your 2 best players to go out there and show out and get solid production from your role players, even though, Drew Holiday and Derek White, who are 2 phenomenal players, are your role players. I mean, listen, wrap it up. I am so happy that Kristaps Porzingis is getting a ring in this thing once this is all said and done, because to me, he willed himself to come back into the playoffs and try and fight his way into this series to the point where he probably messed it. This is probably the injury that finishes it, right? Like, this is probably the, like, I'm gonna end my career injury.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
When you start to get the rare injuries, bro, I think that's when people start to hang it up, bro. It's like, we've never heard anybody have this before.
Yeah, I get it. It's a rare leg injury, but I don't think it's the type of injury to where you're looking at it impacting his career for the long haul of it. I think that it's something that he gets some rest in the offseason. Kristaps will be fine.
We'll see, man. You want to know what's wild about Kristaps? 28.
There's no Kristaps Porzingis is only 28 years old.
28, my boy.
Are you serious?
Yep.
How old was he? 11 when he came in the league?
Bro, Kristaps Porzingis got drafted in 2016, if I'm not mistaken.
That's crazy.
It hasn't been that long.
That's crazy. I mean, shout out to Kristaps, bro. 28. Like, I mean, yeah, especially if you, only damn, that's crazy. I just assumed he was older than Kristaps. Been around for still damn near a decade.
Yeah.
Shout out to Kristaps.
Shout out Kristaps, man. I love how we did all of that and we gave praise to Kristaps Porzingis. Jaylen Brown,
bro,
you've been pretty good too. Drew Holiday.
Jaylen Brown's been really good, bro. Like, Al Horford had his typical Al Horford game. You know he's good for one of those games, at least in every series where he has the Al Horford game. So
that's another great storyline too. Been in the finals twice, and has just transformed his entire game from who he was in Atlanta to now being in Boston. Like, phenomenal career for Al Horford as well. Also, shout out to the Milwaukee Bucks for giving away a championship. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Now stay safe out there. Shout out to the Bucks giving that championship away. But hey, it's Dame time.
You guys can follow me at CEO Haize, man. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Locked On Bulls. We are free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube. For Pat the Designer, this has been Locked On Bulls. We out here, y'all. Peace.
Peace. Yams!